the breakthrough ideas. The agri and food processing industries are crucial sectors in overall economic development of the SEO countries. The sector sustains millions of farm families and engages more than 50% of workforce. Some of the advancements in these fields include genetic resources management and utilization, speedy breeding, omics and bioinformatics, natural resource management, biorational disease and pest management, high-tech horticulture, climate smart agriculture, micro irrigation, precision agriculture, sensor technology, robotics, drones, big data management, artificial intelligence, digital technologies, post harvest management processing, farmer and market linkages, and international trade. In terms of consumption, production, and exports, food industry, processing industry is stands at fifth place in India. India is the second largest producer of food next to China. This is an opportunity for large investments in food and food processing technologies, skills, and equipment, especially in areas of canning, dairy, packaging, frozen food, refrigeration, and thermo processing. The packaged and conventional food, convenience food, functional food are important subsectors of the food processing industry. India produces nearly 16% of world's total food grain production. It is one of the largest producers of agricultural produce. With a population expected to reach about 590 million people by 2030 in urban India, India has a huge potential uh, domestic demand for processed foods other than the demand from the exports. The changing consumption patterns, rising income levels, changing lifestyles are some of the factors providing the demand for food processing industry. Moreover, the central government of India has given a priority status to all agro processing businesses. Though there are many promising dynamics which support good growth in this industry, there are still some significant constraints which need to be addressed. One biggest constraint is that this industry is capital intensive. It creates a strong entry barrier and allows less number of players to enter the market. Lesser the player means lesser the competition. Lesser the competition means reduced efforts to improve the quality standards. The other constraints includes poor infrastructure, storing of raw material, poor quality standards, and control methods for implementing the quality for food processing and packaging of the processed foods. The other constraints includes lack of continuity of quality power, instruments for rapid and reliable analysis, versatile instruments, equipments for multi-commodity. Unless these important constraints are addressed, it will be difficult to break the cultural barrier where people prefer fresh food over the packaged food. So, having said that, I would like to stress upon the infusion of circular economy concept, the integrated and closing loop concepts into the agriculture and food industry. So we would be happy to welcome novel ideas for your present from your present and uh, research proposals for future collaboration amongst SCO nations. So, with the permission from the chairs, uh, let's uh, let's begin with our first young scientist uh, to start the discussion.
Dr. Rana, before that, I would like to say a few words
Sir.
that Basically, we need to identify the areas on which we need to focus, number one. Number two, if we have identified the area, then what are the possible means to address that particular area? And finally, what would be the methodology how to go ahead to solve that particular problem? And we have to come out with certain recommendation in the form of a project proposal. So I would like to request all the young scientists who are participating in this event, they should discuss they should discuss the mode of collaboration. Finally, they have to come out with a proposal and in a form of presentation, which we will be taking at the end of the this conclave. I mean, in the last session of the conclave. So you are requested to kindly go ahead with the sharing your ideas, sharing your thoughts, sharing your future plans of the collaborations, and making the proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Uh, so uh, I would like to uh, welcome any one of the young scientists. Like Alice, madam, you let's start the discussion. Like, come.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm open to collaborate with the work that I have shown, and I would like to tell you that I got a message from somebody. The name is uh, it's Kulikov Andrew from Russia, and they might be interested to talk to me, and I'm open to talk to them. So they have written me that they are interested in my research, and they are creating a system for monitoring to be performed independently, and they would be interested to talk to me to understand what step by step process I'm doing to explore plants and various crops. So, like, I'm free to discuss with you all. So you can ask me any questions, whatever you want to. Okay. So
So, Dr. Kulikov, are you there in online? You can. Hello. Or so. Or, uh, uh, Alice, ma'am, you can express your thoughts how to go about like that. So, please share your thoughts to how to go about to make a roadmap for sustainable agriculture as well as food processing uh, with respect to SEO countries. Ma'am, you can share.
basically, like we are into high throughput genome sequencing. Basically, we are into high throughput genome sequencing and genotyping of various germplasm resources that are available in chickpea at ICRISAT, and we will be generating various genotyping data sets. However, for uh, in order to develop new improved lines, we need to phenotype precisely do the precise phenotyping at multi-environmental locations across the countries and across the environments, which can be done within India as well as at with the SEO member countries. So anyone, if you are if someone is interested to collaborate in this area, we can be like approached. And further, like whatever genes and other superior alleles that was identified in our studies, that can be functionally validated, as well as uh, they can be characterized molecular through molecular approaches. And in this area also we can collaborate, just like we can use the CRISPR technologies, etc. So like I'm open to like collaborate with anyone who is interested in this area. Sorry. Okay. So if anyone wants to talk to me, they can unmute themselves and like speak. If Kuliko Andrew is there, uh, like I can talk to him or her. I don't know who is it.
So I think he's not online. So once he comes, he will be joining us. So so I want to initiate the discussion with from my side that I am doing doing the research on waste valorization from agro industrial waste. Like we are uh, we are modulating a model of a biorefinery system through to sugarcane industry. So like all the wastes which are generated at various stages of sugarcane industry can be all the waste can be valorized. Like solid waste bagasse is valorized. Conventionally it is used for cogeneration, for the power generation. So apart from that power generation, the leftover bagasse can be used for value added products like cellulose derivatives, lignin derivatives, as well as the xylose derivatives. So I'm working on the recovery of microcrystalline cellulose from sugarcane bagasse, rice straw, as well as the cotton stack, which are abundant waste in Hyderabad and our place. So so the main aspect is that is the biorefinery concept is a sustainable or not. Like so it should be comprehended with a reliable analysis, such as I'm doing life cycle assessment analysis as well as techno-economic analysis for the biorefinery concept or the model that we are proposing. So here the products, in case of all the biorefinery concepts, the main pros are, we can say that um, the uh, we are not going to depend upon the um, uh, non-renewable resources. But in the same case, we have to see that biorefinery concept is a sustainable approach or not. So for that, uh, uh, a meticulous as well as a comprehensive holistic analysis should be required. So for that, we are coming up with a sustainability analysis tool which have life cycle assessment as well as techno economics. And the uh, other thing is, uh, so in terms of agriculture and food, the concept of functional foods are coming into picture, as well as the uh, conservation of traditional foods also coming. So especially in COVID times, uh, we are we have followed all the ancient food practices of using turmeric, ginger, salt, and hot water. So I would like to ask all the participants to actively participate in the discussion. So and other things like post uh, post harvesting technologies, and introduction of biotechnology into agriculture, biolization of all the chemical process, such as different concepts are there, like chemurgy is one concept where the chemical industry uh, needs to give the raw material from the agriculture. So agricultural material is used as the raw material for the chemical synthesis, or any semi synthesis concepts are also there, where uh, where a product or the precursor of any product is from the natural or the plant based material. So all these are coming into no they are coming in a big way. And other things also, the like industrial 4 4.0, that is um, infusion of circular economy practices into all the industries. Like digitalization and circular economy are the key elements of industry 4. So based on all different aspects with related to agriculture and food processing areas are invited for discussion. So please unmute your mic, and you can participate in the discussion.
Dr. Rana, maybe you can go to the next participant now. Invite the next participant.
So I invite Debashish for introduce and share his views in the particular field.
Yeah, I can see here only 13 participants. So I don't know, the organizer can open this platform, because this is very close, this group is. I can see here only 13 participants, among which only 4 or 5 all are organizer. I can see here, host, co-host. So I don't think it will be very much fruitful discussion. I can understand that this online mode of this conference or conclave is very difficult to handle all these things. Still, I have checked already that chat section, one portal they have created for chat. They are actually only one question actually came from Mr. Kulib. Kulib is not here actually. Kulib is also absent. So Alice, you can answer him in chat section. One portal actually they have opened. So basically, I have also presented my view. Actually, my field of specialization is metal pollution research, metal pollution in soil as well as food chain. Now, actually, we are working try to connect this soil, plant, human continuum. This is actually complete means chain. Actually, this metal is actually transferred from soil to plant. Up to this, what actually researchers they have done up to this part. Now actually we are actually trying to collaborate with this medical team, medical doctors especially, how actually this metal is actually interacting in human body. So that's why one work actually I have presented here in 2017. Actually, I did that work in Malda district, so where actually we recruited patients who actually really got affected due to this arsenic poisoning. So we recruited that participants there. Then we studied all the anatomy, this means demographic, starting from demographic study, their means physiological appearances, then their medical history, everything.
Debasis, I wanted to know this.
Yeah,
As you said, when they are uptaking the thing, the arsenic, then what is happening actually? What
Yes.
type of diseases?
Diseases. So that disease actually what we got in that area, particularly 66 family actually recruited that time. So among 66 family, total 80 members actually we got the symptom of this arsenic poisoning. The main symptom actually what we got, pigmentation and keratosis. Pigmentation and keratosis, that thing actually we identified. Pigmentation means that dark mottle bound spot on body trunk, and keratosis means rough surface in your hand as well as in foot. So that thing actually we
What
identified.
about metastasis? Does cancerous cells also?
Yes, cancer also we got cancer.
Yeah.
Skin cancer actually, and your other cancer, it is also associated with your kidney, liver. These things
Right.
are also linked actually. So this thing actually we actually got there, and that's why that required. What is the requirement at present scenario? Standing.
So how many test humans have you taken? You have done a clinical trial or what?
In actually medical that physiologist actually medical trial actually we didn't contacted. We just tried to see that what is the correlation between this arsenic content in grain and their level of this pigmentation and keratosis, because we have to classify that disease, means level.
So I think Debasis, uh, we 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 lost his connection. So uh, 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 Dr. Sushil, you can join and share your views. Sushil Kumar. Uh, Dr. Sushil Kumar, can you unmute and share your thoughts?
Here. Dr. Sushil, hope you are here.
Sir, uh, or
Don't say his
any
name.
other, like Dr. Anjaneyulu, you can share your thoughts regarding agro waste valorization. Hmm? Uh, so, Muhammad Akil from Pakistan. So, you can unmute yourself and you can share your thoughts. Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Sushil, hope you are here.
Yeah, your audio is not
Hi.
clear.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, we can
Are you
hear.
hearing?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
please proceed.
Sushil, please wait. Dr. Akil is speaking something.
Like Dr. Anjaneyulu, hear your thought.
So
actually, that was my presentation, short presentation.
Valorization.
yeah, please proceed.
Okay. Hi, I am Muhammad Akil and working as Assistant Scientific Officer in Pakistan Agriculture Research Council. And we mainly target crops for their productivity enhancement. Yeah, excuse me, are you hearing?
Muhammad Akil from Pakistan. So you can unmute yourself and you can share your thoughts.
Uh,
Hello, Muhammad Akil.
yes, yes,
Audio
are
is
you
not
hearing,
Sir,
sir?
yes, sir. Please use one device at one time.
Are you hearing, sir? Hello?
Yeah, please proceed, Akil.
Yes. So, I'm Muhammad Akil and I will discuss the topic advanced bioinformatics analysis using bioconductor. This is basically a platform of data processing. In this area, we mainly target crops for their productivity enhancement. First of all, I will discuss about differential gene expression analysis. In this area, we have to load HR library and GeoQuery. After loading these libraries, we have some data sets available in the databases. For example, I have taken GSE 69048, the experiment, and after setting the factors, disease and control, or anything like that, traits which we are going to improve, like disease resistance may also be. So anything factor like that, after we setting it, then we may proceed further. So then in the next paradigm, we are working on population genetics and structure analysis using R. In this paradigm, we have to load a library named POPPR, and the one of the core step is creating the GenIND object. GenIND object in this slide, I have taken the example AEUT dataset. When we are able to create these object, we can proceed to draw MSN like minimum spanning tree, niche coefficient, gene diversity, discriminant analysis of principal component, statistical genetic summary, dendrogram, and various other statistical tools can be calculated from starting from this GenIND object. Okay. Next is the phenotypic, genotypic variance genetic advance. This is the advanced quantitative genetics tools, very helpful in quality publications in the agriculture area. First of all, genotypic variance can be calculated using the editing variance, and some of the editing variance and dominant variance. We can get the genotypic variance, like in the first line. In the second line, phenotypic variance can be calculated using the addition of genotypic and epistatic variance. Then further genetic advance, broad sense heritability, narrow sense heritability can be calculated using this paradigm. In the next, we are also working on metagenomics and have established these pipelines. First, I discussed gene expression, the paradigm about the gene expression, and then the quantitative genetics analysis, and then the SOMER package I have discussed for calculated the broad sense and narrow sense heritabilities, very helpful in the breeding programs of various crops. Then in the metagenomics pipeline, we have used data 2 package and phyloseq package. In this technique, when we come up with the raw sequences in the form of FASTQ files, we move from FASTQ files to calculate learn error rates. After learning the error rates, we clean up the FASTQ files and remove the faulty sequences from FASTQ files. When we remove the when we remove uh, errors containing sequences, we come up with the containing no chimera sequences, and these quality sequences are used to assign taxonomy using the package assign taxonomy. And this is the implementation of basically DADA2R software package. After assigning the taxonomy, we move to the next step to add the species to unknown sequences. After that, adding the species, we construct basically operational taxonomic unit table that is created by OTU underscore table function. Okay, this is the implementation of basically phyloseq package in the R. Using OTU table information and taxonomy assignment object, we create phyloseq object, and this phyloseq object is the primary object. We proceed further from this phyloseq object. To create phyloseq object, we use OTU table, taxonomy info, and sample data info. Sample data info is the same we use in every computational paradigm for factor setting. In this factor setting, we can take the samples from disease as well as control. This kind of information is stored in sample data. In the next step, I am exploring once again the phyloseq object creation input parameters. The first parameter is again the OTU table. The second is taxonomy info. The third is sample data. After that, creating the phyloseq object, we move further to know the alpha diversity analysis that can be created using plot underscore list richness function. This function basically takes the input of phyloseq object, then on the x, then the second parameter is basically the factor parameter that is used for comparison basis. The third parameter is you which statistical parameters are you going to calculate, and here is the Shannon and Simpson parameters we are going to elaborate in this function. And then the next step is bar plot. In this plot, we basically create ranked wise sequences so that we come up with which microbial species is on the top, which microbial species is present, which microbial sequences are present the most in the metagenomics experiment, and this can be known using the bar plot function. Now we come up with our lab and collaboration opportunities. We have established the following areas paradigms. The first one is phenotypic and biochemical data, mainly from agriculture areas. We are routinely processing phenotypic and biochemical data. Next is the next generation sequencing data. We have established the pipelines for this area too. And next is the RNA-seq data for, we are currently exploring wheat RNA-seq data for variety identification. And finally, in the last metagenomics data processing, we have recently established this pipeline, and all these pipelines we have commercialized too for collaboration purposes. Our institute main activities include we are working on fig, avocado, citrus variety identification based on genotypic maize sequencing data. Now, the next research group is also working on wheat, rice, wheat, and sugar cane productivity improvement through latest genomics approaches. And our tissue culture group is working on virus-free banana production using tissue culture technology. Our animal sciences group work on probiotics development for meat and poultry.
Dr. Iqbal, sorry, Dr. Muhammad Akhil, Dr. Akhil. Oh,
I think the connection has got
yeah,
lost.
yeah. So next, I would like to invite uh, Sushil Kumar, Dr. Sushil Kumar, uh, please to express his views on host virus interactions and management and a roadmap for the coming years with respect to your research.
Very good afternoon, respected delegates. I hope I am audible.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. You are audible.
basically, we are working on molecular virology, that is plant virology, that is characterization of emerging, re-emerging transboundary viral pathogens.
Hello,
Uh,
excuse me.
so,
Hello.
Hello, now let Sushil continue now.
okay, madam. Okay, madam. So, I think
Hello.
Dr. Muhammad before me, he was talking about various pipelines which they had been using for bioinformatics, genomics analysis, analysis of NGS data, then differential gene expression analysis. So, in the same line, we are also working, but it is less of bioinformatics and more of wet lab work. Basically, as I discussed in my presentation, in addition to identifying the viral pathogens which infect our diverse crops in the region, that is northeastern region, we have high biodiversity of major crop species like citrus, banana, chili, cucurbits, as and so on. So we are also maintaining large germplasm pools at our research institutes. Ours is an institute which is located at Umiam, Meghalaya, with its regional centers in all 7 northeastern states, including Sikkim. So in all those centers, we had been maintaining these germplasm pools. So what basically we have started doing that the emerging and the most prevalent viral pathogens we have identified and we have tried to make infectious clones. Like for example, to start with, we had prepared the infectious clone of banana streak Mysore virus, because as you know that viruses are something which cannot be cultured. So they are considered as an obligate or biotroph pathogens, and hence we always say that it is always the association of the viral pathogens with a particular disease until and unless we prove their pathogenicity or molecular cause postulate using infectious clone. So infectious clone is a big resource in the area of plant virology. If someone has the available has those clones available with it with them, which can cause infection on original host as well as the host like model host, say Nicotiana, say Arabidopsis. So we can undertake many experiments on understanding the host viral interactions, as well as we also can identify those weak links in pathogen infection cycle which can be actually targeted through any molecular approach. So as I said, we had been working on identification of proviral factors. Proviral factors are the factors in the plant system which actually support the establishment of viral infection in plant system. So through deep sequencing approach, we had been successful in identification of some proviral factors in some plant species like banana in response to the banana streak virus infection. And now those proviral factors we are targeting to mutate or edit or knock out through CRISPR-Cas9 approach. So we also have got expertise in designing the guide RNA, identifying the target, off-target analysis in the plant system, so that we can have the list of targets, and also we can thus means knock out those proviral factors. In addition, we are also in the line to work on the vector transmitted virus and virus-like pathogens. As I discussed, we have a very prominent problem in not only in Northeast, but in entire India, that is citrus greening or citrus Huang-Long-Bing disease. You must be aware that the whole industry in Florida, citrus industry, has been devastated or has been challenged by this particular fastidious prokaryote bacteria. So this again is a non-culturable bacterial pathogens, and all technologies which we use are more or less like which we use in plant virology. So we are also targeting its efficient vector, which is Xylate, Diaphorina citri, through CRISPR approach. So
One thing tell Dr. Sushil,
yes,
that
madam.
how you will be able to network with the other SCO members. That is what is important.
So these are the lines actually on which we can have network with SCO nations, particularly screening and hunting for the sources of resistance. If we do not have the sources of resistance in our genetic pool available with us, so we can share those infectious clones with them, and they can also screen their genotypes or their germplasm sources using our infectious clones. And if we or they are able to identify some genotypes or lines which are resistant or tolerant to those pathogens, we can always undertake the gene transfer studies, or we can include those germplasms to our crop improvement programs, of course, through
It is a wonderful idea, Dr. Sushil. I think that is what is the purpose of this platform. So I think all the other members of other countries who are interacting or who are listening to Dr. Sushil now, take a step forward to have this networking what he is open to. Yeah, please continue.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So this is the area basically I'm interested, because other approaches, although more or less may be used in other countries as well, but then we will also be open to have the infectious clones of the pathogens which other partners from SCO nations they are having, so that we can also screen our genotypes against those pathogens, because that will we will keep prepared against the pathogens which are not into our country. Of course, this will be through biosecurity, and through we will be able to take those clones only through NBPGR or some national regulations, but that can be undertaken through the established system, and this will help us to prepare against the pathogens which are not there in our country, and but in sometimes or unfortunately in future, if we encounter or intercept those pathogens in our country, maybe through transboundary movement or through vector transmission, so that will keep us prepared, as is the case with COVID. You know, we all know that what has happened, and we don't had any preparedness. So if any of our respected collaborator from SCO nations would like to have association in this line, we'll be happy to have it.
Uh, thank you, Dr. Sushil, for sharing your research and landscape of science, technology, and innovation, and your methodology of CRISPR-Cas9 uh, to address the problems in banana viral diseases. And now I request Dr. Anjaneyulu
No,
from
one second, Dr. Rana.
sir.
I think Dr. Mohammed is online. He wants to just continue.
Yeah,
So let
yeah,
us give him a chance.
yeah. Mo- Mohammed, you can.
Yes. Yes. Excuse me. Are you hearing?
Yeah, we are hearing.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Just one slide was left.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yes. That was I have discussed about the probiotics development activities in our research group. In the last, it was the point was bioinformatics lab for software pipelines optimization in agriculture biotechnology use. This is the main area in which I am working, and others are just using our main computational paradigms. In the end, this is our institute outlay, and different visitors come here in our institute on regular basis and see our routine scientific activities. Students also come on routine basis. The group photo is scientific staffs and other are in present. And thank you so much for listening my presentation. And any question, please, from panelists.
Yeah, Dr. Rana, now you can continue with the next one, I think, if there are no more questions on this.
So, any questions from the participants? Okay. Uh, now we will be moving to our networking session. Uh, I would like to invite Dr. Anjaneyulu from NEAST uh, to share uh, his views and showcase how interdisciplinary research uh, will facilitate. Hello, Dr. Anjaneyulu. Yeah, no, no. I would like to invite Dr. Avanti from CSIR IICT to showcase her views on biotechnology, agriculture, agriculture, and food processing in the framework of SCO nations.
Thank you, Rana, for having me. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Alturi Avanti, a CSIR Nehru Science Postdoctoral Fellow working at CSIR IICT. Okay, to begin with, I work on bioethanol production from municipal solid waste. That is, the biogenic fraction of municipal solid waste is what I try to valorize. Apart from that, I also work on food waste and other types of agriculture waste, and that is why I felt my research could be relevant to showcase it on this platform in the theme of agriculture and food processing. So the idea is to reduce the number of steps in bioethanol production process. So conventionally, the three milestones, that is pretreatment, saccharification, and fermentation, these are conducted in three separate reactors. So this leads to a lot of capex, and that is the capital expenditure, and the operational expenditure, that is the OPEX. So in order to trim this, so we try to concise the number of steps and the labor involved, and we are trying to develop a consolidated, or rather an integrated process. A single pot process is what it is called as. So this has several advantages, such as the requirement of bioreactors can be reduced, and also the time can be shortened, and the solid loading. That is one another challenge in handling the bioethanol production process. So here, high solid loading can be handled through consolidated bioprocessing approaches. So we are getting convincing yields. And the other aspect I want to discuss is, apart from the chemical and the physical treatments, which are generally considered for any kind of bioethanol production. So uh, apart from that, we are also working on the enzymatic processing of the feedstocks. So we are trying to produce in-house enzymes that is targeting the low-cost production of enzymes from agro-industrial waste. So this again cuts down a lot of investment. So as you all know that Novozymes is the major supplier of enzymes for saccharification, which is again a key step, or you could say the rate determining step for the economics of the bioethanol process. So here we are trying to trim that cost using in-house enzymes. And the other potential areas which I think could be presented on this forum, and I request my fellow young scientists to open discussion on lignin valorization. So as we are considering the agricultural waste, so lignin is the one of the key component or the biomolecule that is present apart from carbohydrates. So lignin acts as a barrier for any kind of industrial product development. So we need to get rid of lignin. But how about if the lignin could be valorized in a form to produce high value products? So lignin valorization is one of the key areas that we can open a discussion. Apart from that, hydrolytic enzyme production, yeah, that I've already mentioned. And pentose and hexose, effective pentose and hexose sugar valorization is one of the key areas. And animal feed production from agrarian waste. The spend, what I mean to say is, of course, bioethanol production process leads to a lot of byproducts as well as the unutilized spent solid and the liquid stream generation. So how about using the solid unutilized residues for animal feed production? So these are the areas I think should be considered for SEO collaborative projects. Yeah, thank you, Rana.
Thank you, Dr. Avanti, for sharing your views on lignin valorization and hydrolysis of biomass to value-added products. So, uh, may I request any of the participants to join the discussion by unmuting yourself.
I request participants to give the views
Yep.
for the innovations that is to be taken up in collaborative mode between the SCO countries. So we have already listened to the presenters, Sushil, Devashish, and Elise.
Dr. Ramesh, can you join us to share your views? Sir.
Dr. Rana,
Sir.
Before we get other views, we would like to have some questions here already placed in this one in the forum.
Sir.
So again, yes. Andrew, though he is not available online right now in our platform, he raised that with the Elise Kujur and Sushil Kumar Sharma, that I am very much interested in your research because I am creating a system for monitoring to be performed independently, and I would be interested talk to you to understand what step-by-step process you are doing to explore plants and various crops. So this is one of the area, and you wanted to collaborate with the Elise Kujur and Sushil Kumar Sharma. So please exchange the emails or WhatsApp, whatever the feasible to you. And further, one more question of Dr. Saurabh Patankar, he asked to Madam Agrawal, how does she envision to have edible food processing to reduce food wastage? Will such packaging have micronutrient embedded in it? So Dr. Agrawal may like to answer the questions or query of Dr. Saurabh. Dr. Agrawal, please. Dr. Renu Agrawal, please.
I've already answered it.
You have already answered, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead with the further taking the suggestions on the collaborations. Rana Pratap.
Sir, so I request Dr. Debasis or Dr. Sunil or Sushil to present on behalf of Agriculture and Food Processing team on 28th November.
Okay. So Sushil and Devasis, you both connect with each other and take the views of the other participants and finally project a proposal, finally prepare a proposal, and also what are the different steps which you will be taking into consideration at the final stage of the presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, you take that responsibility because.
Okay, no problem. Sushil will be taking this responsibility.
Yeah.
Devasis,
I will give input. Yeah.
Yes, you gave his input to Sushil. Sushil, it is all right for you?
Sir, is it means that we have to present a proposal?
You have to present the theme area. You have to present the certain aspect of collaboration where, I mean, in broader aspect, you have presented the some virus diagnostics.
Okay.
So this may be one of the area where the collaborative program can be taken up.
Okay.
Similarly,
whichever country you want, you can collaborate.
Somebody has presented on the food fortification or making the, I mean, functional product based on the biological active compounds. So this is maybe one of the areas. So you have to interact with the other participants, particularly from the Russia, from China, from the Kyrgyzstan, from the Pakistan. So you take everybody in loop, make some sort of the recommendation and present it on the day which it is scheduled. Probably it is scheduled on the 20th of
28th. Yeah.
So
and take all the 8 countries.
Slot.
Yeah.
Yes, already slot is there. So ma'am would like to say something in conclusion.
Yeah, I would just like to tell Sushil and Debasis, who are going to take the lead in making this project proposal, that just see, what are the recent innovations going on. Because both of you are working mainly with the crops, that is fine. But at the end, can you connect these countries with food fortification, with designer foods, where innovation can be there? And starting with the crop, of course, where you are telling that heavy metal should not be there. Yeah. And, you are telling diseases should not be there. So combine these along with the innovation of an innovation food formula where you can have a fortification. So that, diseases like anemia or say, osteoporosis, calcium deficiency, or immunity can be increased. Some globulins can get increased with such type of a thing. So that type of a project proposal where you can include many countries together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agrawal.
Thank you.
One more thing I would like to add here that since the Honorable Prime Minister of India, he has already proposed that a working group on the traditional medicine should be initiated within the SCO framework, so that the knowledge of traditional and ancient medicine is spread across the SCO nations, and headway in contemporary medicine can be contemplated with each other. So we can put some area in this particular group so that we can harness the our medicinal and aromatic plants that are available in the SCO country for conservation, cultivation, extraction, as well as drug discovery. So this is one of the area which we can choose. Second area, that omics technologies. Maybe Alice has presented, even Sushil presented something on this one. So we can also go for such collaboration in this one. area where where we are, I mean, all the technology or all the innovations are moving ahead and they are new, and these innovations have ability to sustain the environment, sustain the food security, sustain the nutrition security, and even the sustaining the, it will be helpful in the sustaining the livelihood security of the nations.
At the end, it can increase the immunity also, as I was telling in my talk. So as Dr. Patel just now said, there are so many medicinal plants in our country, especially in the Northeast region where Sushil is working. So can we have something like that where, we have those ingredients where we can, at the end, we can increase the immunity also.
Another area where we can collaborate, because our in protected cultivation, we are only about 15,000 hectares are under protected cultivation. But suppose if you go to the China, they have more than 2 lakh hectares under the protected cultivation, or probably I do not remember the exact data, but it is in lakhs. So the technology need to perfect it for the protected cultivation so that it should be low cost and it can go to the farmers. Farmers can adapt it at a cheaper rate. So another interventions that we can make, we can collaborate with the other country. I mean, whether it is a Russian Federation, whether it is a Pakistan, whether it is our other SEO partners. So precision agriculture is one area, and some presentations were made related to the precision agriculture, use of robotics, use of drone technology, use of unmanned vehicle. So these are the things where we can harness the, I mean, our collaboration, our knowledge, our science for harnessing the Internet of Things, precision agriculture, for precision agriculture, even drone, even for robotics, even AIs, even small farm mechanization, or even you can say that whenever you are going for the nutrient and water management in a smaller form, how we can take up. So these are the areas, but we need to focus on one or two area.
Exactly.
So my point is that you discuss among all and finally come out with the 2-3 most focused area where
focused.
Most focused area where our collaboration, I mean, that will be having interest among all the participating countries. And it is also required for the development of science as well as agriculture in the participating nations. So my point is that you should take care and make the correspondence with all the participants and finally give a shape and present it on 28th. So with these remarks, I think we should close this session. Rana, we should close this session.
Thank
and I request all of you to join the next thematic session 2, sustainable energy and energy storage, which is chaired by Professor B.K. Panigrahi and Dr. Anil Kumar at 4 o'clock sharp. So please stay, please have a break and rejoin at 4 o'clock to start the another session.
So
thank you so much for giving, particularly I am grateful to the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, for giving us this opportunity to interact all the participants from the different nations, from the SEO countries, especially SEO countries, and share my views also and to have your views. Thank you so much.
I would also take this opportunity to thank Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and my co-chair, Dr. Patel. We have been very good friends, and all the participants of all the countries, I would like to thank each one of you and giving me this opportunity to be with all of you, hear your views and give my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. V.B. Patel sir and Renu madam, for motivating the young scientists with your valuable suggestions. And I would like to request Dr. Debasis and Dr. Sushil to take the inputs from the young scientists from other countries and come up with a roadmap for the next 10 years for the development of SCO countries. No, we will take a short break of 10 minutes, break up, and we will continue with the next session at 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rana. You did a good moderation too.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.